Is it Thursday already? Crikey, it came around rather quickly. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Geeksvana Live. I hope you are all extremely well. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the DJI FPV CineWhoop that, of course, people would have seen the leaked pictures, which we'll be looking at again in a few moments' time, and really talking about what it could be, what we would like it to be as well. So really forming a wish list in terms of actually, you know, the kind of thing that we want to see, basically. And that's going to be coming from both the camera drone operators and the FPV side. And to do such a thing, of course, we need some camera drone flyers and an FPV dude. And look, they're here. How are you guys?
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. We're doing good. We're doing good.
First up, we're actually gonna watch a viewer video before we dive into the subject, and this is from Sam Butcher, Vert Media, who's actually a professional FPV pilot, and this is behind the scenes from a Toyota shoot which he did with British touring cars. Very cool.
Beautiful, man.
That was so cool, wasn't it?
That was fantastic.
I mean, obviously,
amazing.
that is that, you know, we're starting the bar high tonight with the professional side of the of FPV, but it just shows where you can get to if you really do want to get in there, as it were. Kai is saying he should have landed on the back wing of that car. Yeah, that would have been cool. But that was actually for a Toyota project he was doing, launching the new Toyota Corolla. So of course it showed the old ones, including the 86, etc., which was just good to see, frankly. So yes. Very, very cool. So first up, we're going to look at DJI in FPV. And I suppose the first one to look at, really, before we move on to the leaks and this CineWhoop, etc., is to look at where we've come from. And obviously, we have this little beast. We'll say little beast. It's pretty heavy. It's obviously the first foray for DJI in terms of a complete drone that's intended, and I say intended loosely, for the FPV side of things. And I mean, it's had a mixed life, hasn't it, really?
Yes, indeed.
It's taken its punches. I mean, I personally really like it. I really enjoy flying it. There's a big difference for me from the point of view that I could go to the same field every time and fly this, and I have a different flight. Whereas obviously, if we turn up with our Mavic 3s the same field every day, it might get a bit boring.
When you go out with that, do you see many other people with them? Like when we go out to the Mavic 3s or the Mini 2s or whatever, we see loads of them. But do you see many of them?
Not too many of these, but actually also interestingly, I fly at a flying field. So obviously I'm with lots of other members of that club. And it's the only one I've seen at the whole club. And it's quite a big club. They've got, you know, all sorts of FPV and 3D helicopters and all sorts of things. Now, you've flown one as well, haven't you, John? What did you think of it?
I have flown it, and
Did you crash it?
I did crash it, and believe it or not, it survived a crash. But let me say this: I feel like what the DJI FPV drone did well was, you know, you can say what you want about it, but it gets people in the goggles and flying FPV. Is it the traditional hardcore style FPV that people like myself would consider? No, but it gets people past that technical hump.
Yes.
But as we know, it comes with a lot of compromises. And one of the big compromises is obviously the repairability, which has been beat to death. Also, a lot of the cinema guys were not happy with the camera quality as well. They were not happy with that at all, and that's why you've got on top of yours. And I've seen almost everybody who actually does any work with that thing has got a little mount for a GoPro or an Insta360. I mean, that's basically a requirement if you're going to use that thing.
Yeah. First, we're actually going to have another viewer video, and this time it's actually from Mike Miller, who's one of our channel members, and he's a more recent entrant into the FPV side of things. He actually reminded me of this work that he does, and so I dug this video out that he sent me during our channel members meetup, which we've just had. And it's excellent because it's chasing fixed wing. I love chase videos at the moment. They're easily my top 3 FPV style of video. So enjoy.
From my winter hell, I've got candles and candy. I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way. Try to stay true. Just speak low, stand in your row. Try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow. Way down below, oh, it's a lot of woe. And that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you not to choose. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way and try to stay true.
That was a really great video from Mike Miller. Thank you, Mike, one of our channel members, for letting us share that. I love the edit as well, even like the ending showing the landing where that fixed wing guy nailed that landing, didn't he? Right at the end of the video there, and then bringing it back into shot. But boy, did he get close on a few of those shots.
Especially when it went over the top.
Yeah. Do you do much chasing, John?
I am just now kind of learning to chase, and I'll tell you, the coordination between the plane pilot and the quad pilot there, you really have to be on the same page to get the awesome shots that he did there. That was some really good coordination and great flying by both people.
Yeah, indeed. Right, let's have a look at the images themselves of this leaked new FPV CineWhoop that we hope is coming up, and it's they're pretty interesting to be frank. I mean, we have, of course, it's the same with any of the drones that there are differences between the early shots that we see of the test vehicles, as it were, through to the shots of the sexy marketing shots of the final release drone. So there is a journey that will happen for this drone. But it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Because it does give us that CineWhoop type of feeling, although it isn't that small, because if you look at the chap's hand, it's still a decent sized drone in the hand, isn't it?
It still looks quite sturdy as well.
Yeah, do you know what? Sometimes I look at it and I think it looks pretty sturdy. Other times I think that thing would break on the first hard landing. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the negative one take on this one and say that plastic there. Yeah, it's really a toss up. I'm not convinced that it would be particularly strong in a crash. I would also like to see something to make this easily replaceable. Looks like there's a lot of screws there.
Yeah, I was going to say that, especially on the bottom.
About.
There are a lot of little nuts, which I thought is that a good thing from the point of view that we're going to be able to part it out a bit more?
That looks like it's a whole body. There's not just one piece. As in, it's just one piece. So if one part broke, that's the whole lot has to be replaced.
Well, if you look at the left-hand photo, there's lots and lots of little bolts and things. So I think the frame will come apart quite nicely, but it's whether or not it'll come apart. I mean, to be fair, the DJI FPV drone comes apart quite nicely, especially if you hit the floor. But it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't, because of the size of it. It's going to be fairly brittle. I mean, obviously the idea is not to crash it, but that obviously isn't the idea of FPV drones. So again, it doesn't feel like it's going to be an acro beast, does it? In my opinion.
Yeah, well, I believe it's been rumored to actually not have full acro or manual mode. Not really sure about that. But I'm also looking at the ducts here, and some people have pointed out. Now, I'm not an aerodynamic engineer or anything, but it doesn't look like the ducts are the best for thrust. Like, you can see the little lip is,
yes,
you see in the corner there.
Really good point. Yeah, that's a
people
really
have
good point.
raised concern about that, and I see that as well. I also wonder how loud this thing is going to be, because those props, look at the pitch on those props.
Yes.
And I've flown various other little CineWhoops, and they're always pretty loud. And your prop has a lot to do with that, but also the ducted format. And it just, seeing those props makes me wonder, how loud is this thing going to be?
Yeah, and that's a very good point. I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they think this machine is going to be as well, from the point of view that obviously we've got the camera system at the front there. Obviously you've got a big old battery going in the back, etc., which of course camera and battery are big, huge components in any drone. But it doesn't seem to have any kind of situation where we're going to expect to slap a GoPro on the top or anything else like that. So it seems like it's primarily designed to use its onboard camera, which of course, DJI are, arguably very, very good at providing good cameras. I mean, it doesn't look like a particularly bad setup camera.
How flexible
in camera
is that
terms.
camera going to be?
Yeah, don't know.
Because it just looks really fixed.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's only going to be able to pitch around so that obviously it can change. But again, the cameras generally on FPV drones are a lot more fixed. So it looks like it'd be able to pitch to deal with the increase in speeds and things. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I think I worry about how brittle it looks. I worry about how, but again, it could be a one-trick pony. It could do that CineWhoop side of things. This could be another drone aimed at the camera drone flyers who want some nice CineWhoop smooth shots, couldn't it?
Or like that video earlier on with the Toyotas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he did bust out a few power loops and things, and a little bit more sort of pure FPV side. But yeah, exactly, that kind of shot, that kind of sort of cinematic-y sort of marketing type looking thing. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously we've got some sensors on the bottom there, which a couple of them look fairly new, but there's obviously the main sensors there which we're used to seeing.
Yes.
And it's exciting from the point of view that I've enjoyed my DJI FPV drone, and I think that if I could have something similar that was on long, because one of the reasons I'm getting into FPV is so that I can fly CineWhoops, and if this gives me an easier way to do that, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to take it. If it's not £50,000, etc., I'm probably going to have a go at it basically. But yeah, I mean it's an interesting looking drone. I think the bottom shot gives us more information than anything really, and it just fills you full of so many questions, doesn't it?
I feel like though a lot of people listen. The industry standard right now is the GoPro and Real Steady.
Yeah.
And by not thinking through to put something to accommodate that, I know DJI is very pro using their own cameras, but that's a big thing for them to step up and literally challenge the CineWhoop industry standard of GoPro and Real Steady. And a lot of people are not going to be happy with that thing just based on that alone. I mean,
yeah, it's really interesting because again, we don't know what the final version is going to look like. We don't know how early a version this is. I mean, it could come out and have multiple different frame setups. That might be why there's so many screws. We could, like you said to me on Messenger last night, we could end up with a fully ducted, a fan covered ducted version as well, from the point of view of the new US rules, etc. That type of thing, depending on how heavy it is, of course. So it's going to be interesting. But I also think it's quite an interesting year with everything that's going on at the moment with Fat Shark, DJI, all of the things that have happened in the past, all of the, even with the DJI FPV drone, etc. I think it's a really interesting year for them to push further into the FPV marketplace. And I don't know, I have a sneaky feeling, and I've been wrong as many times as I've been right on these things, because I don't have any extra information apart from those photos on this drone. But I have a sneaky feeling this is going to be something, again, that camera drone flyers like more than the FPV community likes. That's just my personal opinion.
Most likely, I would probably agree with that. But if they're trying to create a tool for the professional here, that's a big reason to buy a CineWhoop. Honestly, for the most part, people are not flying them for fun; they're flying them for business. And I'm expecting this thing to be pretty expensive. I'm expecting this thing to be pretty expensive for the cost that you're going to pay for it. Yeah, sure, some people are spending big money to just fly a Shenzhou Squirt, for example, for fun. But I would expect for the cost of this thing, it's not meant to be a fun flyer. And so if they don't try to accommodate like putting a GoPro on there, or even adding a power cable for the new GoPro Bones, I really think that should be something. But then to think that DJI would do anything to even try to work with something to do with GoPro, that's probably wishful thinking, unfortunately.
With the skills that you've got, John, with making your own drones, would you not be tempted to adapt it?
Honestly, I would rather I would rather not buy into what DJI is offering there. I would go for a Shenzhou Squirt or something like that, where I know all the components that are in it and I can do whatever I want. The big problem is with opening these DJI drones is you don't know where anything is. You basically have to work backward.
Whether you can put it back together again, frankly. But and it's also that thing of not wanting to buy a £1,000 drone or something to then have to start spending on it as the minute you've got it. I think that you'd take that 1,000 and, as you say, you'd invest it elsewhere, frankly.
Right. And the Shenzhou Squirt, like I'm promoting this one in particular, but really you could get any
promote it,
is a 3D printed frame.
What Standard Labs, go find them.
So you could literally 3D print the frame to fix it. What is the frame going to cost if you break this with DJI? There's a lot here to wish for. Yeah. Honestly. And I don't think the traditional FPV guys are going to jump on board with this one.
Okay, so what are we going to add to our CineWhoop wish list then? From the camera drone side of things, I would like a CineWhoop that is stable. So that's from my point of view. I would love that. I'd love to be able to get into the whole CineWhoop side of things and have a stable CineWhoop. I think we're saying you need to be able to have the option to add a camera, I think, don't you? So the fact that we don't think that it's going to have a good enough camera based on that picture, I don't think we're going to have the camera we need to get the high quality footage, frankly. So we need that adaptability. We need it because different people like different cameras as well and that type of thing. we need fixability, which is I'm now, this is going to, is this, oh no, fixability, it's coming up as a word. There you go. We need fixability. We need affordable way of being able to crash this thing and rebuild it. I mean, again, looking at the pictures, the camera does look quite precarious there at the front, doesn't it? I think that I'm not sure how many crashes that would take. And obviously the camera tends to be quite an expensive part of the drone as well, of course. So fixability. Anything else that you want to see on this drone, John?
Let me think. You've got the three most important ones there. We talked about how we would like to have it be quiet as possible.
Yep,
that's also important.
So as you say, with the way that it's set up, etc., I'm not entirely sure we're going to get there, frankly. But hey, but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a stable CineWhoop with the option to add cameras, something that you are going to be able to fix yourself affordably, we mean as well, DJI, thank you very much, and that it does fly quiet, etc., for the fact that it is a CineWhoop. I think that would be a nice little drone for us. I think that's the kind of thing that I think we would like to see. Are we going to get that based on these pictures? I don't see how they're going to have an official way of adding a camera on top. And also, of course, you've then got the issue of it becomes a little bit pendulum there as well. So that's from that point of view. And we don't have the best track record in terms of DJI from the point of view of being able to fix these drones.
No, because
what do we think of the sensors being on the bottom there? That also looks like a potential durability issue. I mean, I understand why they put them there.
Yeah, but even looking at the two little legs coming down each side as well, I don't think, and I mean, there's four legs there. The two at there's one at the front and rear as well. I don't think this is going to necessarily be an FPV drone. I genuinely don't. When look just from these pictures, yes, it will be called it, yes, it will be marketed it, but you know, the simple fact is that this FPV drone isn't really an FPV drone.
But it also doesn't look very aerodynamic, like when you see some of them other ones.
Yeah, I think actually it will fly quite well. I think it will do quite well, and I think for the job it's going to do. I just feel like this is going to be a stable CineWhoop that's going to fly in, you know, what us chaps on the cinematic side would say would be the same as a camera drone. Basically, it's going to have a sport mode and that type of thing. Yes, it will probably have the manual mode of the DJI FPV drone, perhaps, although I don't see how it would work from that point of view. And so perhaps the rumors that it doesn't have acro are correct. But yeah, I mean, that's really the kind of drone that I think it's going to be personally. And I don't know, you know, I'll be amazed and blown away if this turns out to be some kind of FPV god of a beast of a drone that the FPV community, you know, rampage next year, everyone's flying one.
Yeah, I don't see that one happening. I definitely don't see that one happening.
Exactly. Now, there are links to both Tony and John's channels in the description. So go support them, go follow them. These guys give up their time to bring us these wonderful shows. But as I say, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you very much, everyone.
Have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.